Welcome back. You're watching WION World is One with me, Russias Chechnya, and this is Speed News. We get you the latest from all across the globe in just a matter of 30 minutes. Let's get you started. Both Israel and the United States are anticipating a major Iranian attack to be launched within days. Tehran is getting ready to carry out its reprisal for the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Israel has said that it is monitoring all that is happening in Iran as of now. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Galant spoke with U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on Sunday, where Galant told Austin that Iran's military preparations were pointing to a large-scale attack on Israel. Pentagon confirmed that Austin has ordered the deployment of guided missile submarine to West Asia. Israel Defense Forces are on peak alert as both Washington and Jerusalem share expectations that Iran could launch major attacks on Israel as soon as this week. Well, the IDF said that they were on peak alert while monitoring the developments in Iran, although they have not changed their precautionary guidelines for the public. IDF further added that it would update the home front about any changes if the need arises. The U.S. has also ordered a strike group of fighter jets and Navy warships to accelerate its deployment in West Asia. The diplomatic efforts are on to diffuse the tensions in West Asia. U.S. President Joe Biden dialed the leaders of France, Germany, Italy and Britain and have urged Iran to stand down. The leaders of these 5 countries issued a joint statement after they spoke on the phone call. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken also dialed his Turkish counterpart to talk about the scheduled ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas on August 15th. The Biden administration has said that it still expects Gaza peace talks to move forward as planned despite tensions in the region. Staying on with stories from West Asia, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas is in Moscow amid escalating West Asia crisis, where he is meeting his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. As per a statement issued by the Kremlin, Mahmoud Abbas will exchange views on the escalating situation in West Asia. Discussions will take place in light of the current aggravation of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe in the Gaza Strip. The statement read, and I'm quoting, Abbas will later travel to Turkey for talks with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Israel is facing an internal rift between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Galant. Netanyahu traded barbs with his defense minister, underscoring the internal splits which continue to worry the government as concerns are rising of an all-out war in West Asia. Netanyahu's response comes after Israeli media reported that Galant repeatedly called Netanyahu's promises of absolute victory. The statement also mentioned that Israel's total victory is still aimed at elimination of Hamas and bringing back the remaining hostages. The riot hit UK. Well, it has again been rocked by a fresh stabbing attack in central London's Leicester Square. A mother and her young daughter were attacked by a knife-wielding man. The 34-year-old lady suffered minor wounds. 11-year-old girl is said to have sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The stabbing took place in an area heavily visited by tourists and shoppers. Onlookers described the 32-year-old perpetrator as a young, white, skinny male. Several witnesses are said to have intervened and subdued the man. The United States is set to lift a 3-year ban on selling offensive weapons to Saudi Arabia. The State Department confirmed that it would end the suspension on certain air-to-ground munitions sales to Saudi Arabia, allowing future transfers to be considered on a case-by-case basis. Well, the ban was originally imposed in 2021 as part of the Biden administration's effort to pressure Saudi Arabia to end its involvement in the Yemen war. However, since March 2022, Saudi airstrikes in Yemen have stopped following a truce, and cross-border attacks from Yemen into Saudi Arabia have largely ceased. The decision to resume weapons sales is a part of a broader strategy by the U.S. to enhance cooperation with Saudi Arabia, especially in the wake of the recent crisis in West Asia. The U.S. has now trashed rumors claiming that neither Washington nor Langley had a role to play in the destabilization and oust of Hasina's regime. This after the former Prime Minister and her son claimed American involvement, alleging that the U.S. wanted a presence on Bangladesh's St. Martin's Island. It also stated that any reports or rumors claiming so far is false. The White House has further emphasized that the U.S. believes that the people of Bangladesh have a right to determine the future of their governance. Ukraine has announced that it has captured 1,000 square kilometers of Russia's Kursk region and what it claims to be the biggest cross-border assault against its enemy. Now, this comes as Ukraine's invasion into Russia's Kursk region enters day 7. In a video published on Zelensky's Telegram account, Ukraine's commander-in-chief, Alexander Serkesky, briefed Zelensky on the ongoing operation in Russia's Kursk region. On the other hand, Putin has asserted that Ukraine is trying to undermine Russian stability. A day after widespread outrage following the gruesome rape and murder of a woman trainee doctor in India's West Bengal, authorities have now released the final post-mortem examination report of the victim. The post-mortem examination report revealed that the accused assaulted the 31-year-old with violent blows, shattering her spectacles with shards piercing her eyes. While she was still alive, meanwhile, Forda has decided to extend its indefinite strike in Kolkata. This comes after the association's meeting with officials from the Union Health Ministry, which did not yield any result or meaningful resolution. The federation has demanded justice and compensation for the deceased individual. In an interview with billionaire Elon Musk, Donald Trump said that Kamala Harris replacing Joe Biden as the Democratic Party's contestant was a coup. Trump also went on to claim that the U.S. will go out of business if Harris is elected as the president. Attacking U.S. President Joe Biden, Trump said he failed in the presidential debate with him. The Republican presidential contestant also said that he plans to return to Butler County, where he survived an assassination attempt on July 13th for a rally, and he will be visiting Butler County in the month of October. Elon Musk's scheduled live interview with Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump that was set to go live on social media platform X ran into a major technical mishap. Though the technical glitch was later fixed, Musk claimed that the site was hit by DDoS, which are called as distributed denial of service attack on X. Following this, many users were unable to access the live stream, with the site displaying not available moments after the scheduled starting time. And this forced Musk to continue the interview with a smaller number of listeners. Musk has said that he will post the audio later for those who are unable to join. Prior to Musk's interview with Donald Trump, the European Union in a letter said that Elon Musk must comply with the EU laws. The interview, it said, which was accessible to users in the European Union, should not amplify or promote violent, hateful and racist content, and that DSA law required very large platforms to do more to tackle illegal content and risks to public security. In response, Musk called EU statement as growing attempts of censorship from other countries. Austrian advocacy group NOYB has filed a complaint against X. They have accused X of training its AI using consumer data without user consent, violating EU's privacy law. Well, the advocacy group has filed general data protection regulation complaints in 9 European Union authorities. The idea is to pressure DPC, the Irish Data Protection Authority. NOYB believes that DPC's complaint is mainly concerned with mitigation measures and a lack of cooperation by X, and that it does not question the legality of the data processing itself. Global sales of fully electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles rose by nearly 21% in July. China's strongest growth this year is offsetting dropping demand in Europe. Plug-in hybrid vehicle sales in China in the first 7 months of 2024 were up 70% from last year. Meanwhile, European automakers expect to be hit hardest by provisional tariffs imposed on EVs imported from China. The impact of the tariffs is expected to be smaller on Tesla and Chinese EV giant BYD, whose presence in Europe remains small. Japan's wholesale inflation accelerated in July with the fastest pace of year-on-year growth. This comes as weekend pushed up commodity import bills that were already high. The corporate goods price index, which measures the price companies charge each other for goods and services, that rose 3% in July from a year earlier. The index hit a record high for the 8th straight month, accelerating from June's 2.9% increase. Japan raised interest rates in July to levels unseen in 15 years and signaled its readiness to hike borrowing costs further. China's agricultural sector is set to improve its capacity for disaster prevention and mitigation. The government has vowed more financial support to restore output, and after flooding, China suffered $10.1 billion in economic losses from natural disasters last month. 88% of those losses were caused by heavy rains and floods. Well, according to the Ministry of Emergency Management, it was the biggest amount of losses for the month of July since 2021. The severe rainfall and ensuing flooding led to a near doubling in economic losses from natural disasters in July from a year earlier. That's what the government has said. A study by the Barcelona Institute for Global Health revealed that high temperatures, which scientists say are being worsened by human-driven carbon emissions, that caused nearly 50,000 deaths in Europe last year. The annual report found that in the past decade, that's in 2022, only that year was deadlier, with more than 60,000 heat-related deaths. Furthermore, the report said that the heat-related mortality rate was 55% higher in women than in men, and even sevenfold in people over 80 years of age than in people aged between 65 and 79. The deaths occurred during 2 periods of high heat in mid-July and August, wherein the mercury hit 44 degrees Celsius on July 18th in Italy's Sicily. The report also found that heat-related deaths will have rather been an 80% higher if European governments in the 21st century did not take any action to adapt to hotter summers. Puerto Rico has activated the National Guard and cancelled the state of start of classes in public schools as forecasters warn that the U.S. territory will be hit by tropical storm Ernesto, which formed in the Atlantic Ocean on Monday. Ernesto is the fifth named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. The National Hurricane Center said Ernesto is forecast to move over or near Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands on Tuesday afternoon or evening. Forecasters warn that the storm is expected to unleash floods and landslides. Puerto Rico governor said that more than 340 shelters across the island would be available if required and that more than 200 personnel with the National Guard were activated. Officials also warned Ernesto would cause widespread power outages given the fragile state of Puerto Rico's power grid, which crews are still rebuilding after Hurricane Maria struck the island in September 2017 as a Category 4 storm. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has filed a lawsuit against cryptocurrency company Novatech and its co-founders, accusing them of fraudulently raising over $650 million from more than 200,000 investors worldwide. According to the SEC, the co-founders promised investors that their funds would be secure, claiming that they would be in profit from day one. However, instead of investing the money, the couple allegedly used funds from new investors to repay earlier ones and to pay commissions, while also diverting millions for their own use. The SEC also noted that Novatech targeted victims through social media, Telegram, WhatsApp, and often used religious messaging. The Biden administration has unveiled new rules and efforts targeting consumer annoyances. This includes hard-to-cancel subscriptions, cumbersome insurance forms, and not being able to get a live customer service agent on the phone. He called that Time is Money initiative. The initiative is a part of Biden's effort aimed at easing voters' lives amid high inflation. The Time is Money initiative aims to crack down endless hold times and complicated procedures that cost consumers time and also money. Chinese scientists are using AI to monitor elephant movement. They are using drones and infrared cameras to help count and also protect elephants in the wild. In case of suspected elephant activity, the camera will immediately capture it and notify the on-duty management staff. When confirmed, the system will automatically issue an early warning message and notify nearby residents through the radio. Since its launch, the platform has issued more than 100,000 early warnings, effectively avoiding human-elephant conflicts.